Now we're recording. I totally didn't do any of that. Joel Henley, Fulton Public School JAG Specialist. But if you guys have questions, you can send them in chat. Joel will see them, or I will see them, or you can just unclick your button and we can go that route since it's a smaller group. So Joel, if you wouldn't mind, you can take it away.
All right, I'm going to try to share my screen and see if this works. I'm going to do this. All right. Are you seeing the PowerPoints? All right, well, perfect. We've got that. So like Justice said, I am the JAG specialist here at Fulton Public Schools. JAG is a program that's been around since 1979. It began in the state of Delaware. When the governor went to the education secretary and said, fix the dropout problem. And so that is how JAG began. It's in, I don't even know how many states right now. It's in a lot. We have, I believe it's 80 some programs in the state of Missouri. And the whole purpose of JAG is to take those students that are struggling with life. And I put it that way because it's just barriers that they have in their life. And it could be anywhere from academic barriers to home life barriers, any of those kinds of things. And we want to make sure that they're successful, that they transition from high school to whatever their post-high school looks like. It could be the workforce, it could be into military, it could be 2-year, 4-year, it could be vocational. Whatever that might look like for them, we want to make sure that we give them the skills and the tools necessary to transition and be able to do well. And so the way that we do that is we have 37 core competencies that we focus on, and they're in 9 competency clusters. And so those competency clusters are career development, job attainment, job survival, basic skills, personal skills, life survival, workplace skills, and economic empowerment. And so by the time they graduate, our JAG students, if they've been with us for 4 years, will have had 120 contact hours annually. So that's hours that they've been in the classroom, or they've been doing social, been doing community service projects. They've been a part of the Career Association that is part of the JAG program. They've mastered all 37 of those core competencies, and they've taken a pre-test and a post-test that tells us where they began at and where they ended at. And our goal is that the barriers that they have, that we help them to overcome those in the 4-year period that we have with them. And really it's a 5-year, because when they graduate high school, JAG comes with a 1-year follow-up. So for 12 months, I follow those that have graduated, check up with them once a month, make sure that they are doing well. If they're in a job, I'm checking to make sure that they're still doing well in their job. If they're transitioning from jobs, it's my job to help them with resume writing, finding a job, connecting them to employers. If they're in college, doing that, it's checking up on them, making sure that they're doing well at school. If they're in the military, checking up with them, making sure that they're doing well in the military. So it's a 1-year follow-up. So it becomes, when they start as freshmen, it becomes a 5-year program for them. And we really want them to stay in for all 5 of those years. And so we operate then on what's called the JAG Advantage. And it's a three-pronged approach. One of them is employer engagement, and that's what I'll end up talking a lot about, employer engagement, because I think that's really where you as members of the Chamber of Commerce are going to really help us with in the JAG program. And so we'll talk about that in detail here in a moment. Project-based learning, everything that we do in class, we try to make it hands-on. It's not me standing in front of them and talking. Probably in the 2.5, almost 3 weeks that we've been in school, I've maybe 2 days stood in front and spent a significant time in instructing. Most of the time is a a 5 or 10 minute instruction on this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, and then it's them doing it, them researching, them working on it to find out who they are as a person. Right now, we're working on leadership development and getting our career association off the ground. And so they're in the project that we're doing, they're going to be writing a leadership essay that actually comes from the First Lady. She has an essay contest every year. And so one of the ways for us to make sure that all the students participate in it is I'm making that our leadership essay. And so she's given them an essay prompt, and they'll write an essay. And the best essay, the one that wins the contest, will actually get to go see the First Lady and Governor Parsons in November. And then they also will be doing a campaign poster and a campaign video for us. I'm in the process, and I think we're going to get it locked down to have Representative Fitzwater do a virtual speaking with us next week for one of the classes. And I'm hoping that he'll allow me to record that so that I can use that for my other classes. He's not available to speak during all my class period times, but so it's all project based and getting other people involved and really letting them speak to their expertise. The reality is I'm not going to be an expert in every area, but I can reach out and tap into resources just like we're going to do today, getting you familiar with JAG, and then also knowing that we're probably going to reach out to you because you guys are experts in areas that I'm definitely not. And the third prong, and this one's a really important one, is it's trauma-informed care. Almost every student that I have in my room has suffered significant trauma somewhere in their life. I'll give you two examples from yesterday. I'm not going to tell you who they are because I can't tell you names, but I spent the first 45 minutes of my day, and at this time yesterday, I was spending another 45 minutes counseling students who had had trauma either recently or in their past. I had one student whose parent is neglecting them, who hadn't eaten in 2 days until he came to school, had not had his clothes washed since school had been started, and he's a senior. He's trying to figure out how to better his life, better himself, and I spent 45 minutes talking with him, encouraging him, trying to get him help. 45 minutes yesterday at this time dealing with a student who was having a mental breakdown from trauma that came from a parent when she was younger that had drugged her, and sexual assault that had happened, and these are students that they're sharing those kinds of traumas and feeling comfortable enough to do that. But those are the kinds of kids that we deal with. We've got kids that have parents that are in prison. We've got, and those might be high achieving students, but they still have barriers and they're what we would term as at risk, but we don't want to call them at risk. These are students with great potential that just have stuff that can get in the way of them being successful, and we want to give them tools to be successful. And so those three prongs really work together to make this program run. And so the employer engagement piece, we work in the classroom to attain competencies. So we're teaching these competencies that we want them to learn. And then we want to eventually move them to where it's not just in the classroom. We want them to be job shadowing. We want them to be getting mentored outside of the classroom. We want to be able to take company tours. This year, that's going to look different for us. I found out this week that we for sure are not going to be able to do any in-person tours, and we're not going to be able to do any in-person guest speakers. So everything that we do is going to have to be virtual, and I'm wide open on if people want to do a virtual tour of businesses and what they have to offer and what they do. I'm open for that, and I think the students will be as well. We would obviously love to be able to be in the businesses, but for the protection of our students this year, we're just not doing that. We don't want to expose them to any potential dangers. so that we can stay in person, because especially this program being virtual would not be a good thing. These are the students that if we're not in session, getting in contact with them is probably going to be very difficult. Them responding to us is probably going to be very difficult. And I can tell you from last spring, we were trying to get the program off the ground, and I got very little response from these students. And some of them knew me and some of them didn't, but they still didn't respond. And so we definitely want to stay in person as much as we possibly can. And then the competency mastery for us is where we really get them placed in a work site. Our goal is really to have every student have a job at some point in time before they graduate high school. We want them to be in a job site, in a work environment where they're not just learning the tools in the classroom, but they're learning the tools in a place of business. And honestly, for me, I don't care what the business is. I just want them to have a job, and I want to fit them to maybe things that might be long-term, especially the ones that aren't going to go on to any post-secondary education. Finding something that they can get on the on-site training, on the job training, maybe even an apprenticeship, and really connecting them with people that are willing to do that, and in some ways willing to take a chance on somebody that they know is probably dealing with a whole lot of stuff in their life, but also willing to know that you have support from the school, that if you are having challenges with them, we want to know so that we can begin to discuss that with them and work with them and help them be successful and not be job jumping and just hopping from place to place. We want them to find a job, keep a job, and really settle in on that kind of a place. And so for us, as much as we, with all that, we want to definitely connect with businesses and partner with businesses. We also know that not every business is going to be able to necessarily employ our students, because there are jobs that definitely you have to be 18 or older, and not all of our students are going to be at that age. But even if it's a guest speaking or a touring, or even doing funding, we definitely are willing to do that. We have funds that are available to us every year, and we get an allotment of about $75 to $100 per student to spend on clothing, to help them be outfitted in probably business casual clothing. But we all know that $75 to $100 is not going to be able to cover that. A pair of dress shoes for a man will cost 60 to $70 just on their own, and a pair of khaki pants is gonna probably gonna run you between $20 and $40, and by that time you don't even have enough to cover the shirt side. And I know we talked when I met with Justice and Tamara earlier, that even talked about trying to get like a free store type setup where they could come and shop for those kind of business casual type things. But we're open to all kinds of suggestions and all kinds of things that you guys can do to help us. And so ultimately, the thing that we need is we need you on our team. We need you to partner with us, and we want to partner with you to make JAG successful, and really to help you guys have people that are people that you can employ. Because most of these students probably aren't going to leave Fulton. They're going to be people that are probably going to stay right here. And so these are really the employees of the future right here in Fulton and Callaway County. And so with that, I think probably the best thing now would be to open it up for questions, and I'll quit sharing. That way I can see all the different things that pop up, if I can figure out how to not share.
I think it's down. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. I think it's down at the bottom. If you click by the share screen button, I think it says stop sharing.
I don't have that anymore. I may have to
Close your PowerPoint maybe.
Yeah, I'll just close it.
and maybe the little button will pop up. So does anybody have any questions for him? Any businesses who have any suggestions, comments?
Have you talked to the Missouri Job Center here in Fulton?
I have not.
Okay, that's probably going to be a good connection for you.
I'm writing that down. So
the best person to talk to is probably going to be Linda Albin, and if you have I'll give you their phone number right now.
go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, so it's 573-642-7760.
Okay.
And Shane, were you saying they might have some grant or something opportunities?
Yep, they have youth programs, you know, for disadvantaged youth. They have some internship programs, some work experience programs where they can pay them, you know, to work at an employer, and the employer, there's basically no risk. They'll pay their salary and their workman's comp while they're there for, I think it's around like 240 hours. And they also have some funding available to help them with purchasing, you know, clothes or any items that they might need, tools for work. You know, so there's a lot of funding opportunities there through the Job Center.
Thank
The
you.
other thing that's worked out well for Mexico is that you have Bright Futures there, and we formed a site council for our alternative school because that's where our JAG program is housed. But that site council for Bright Futures got together, and the chamber, I work for the chamber, helped get the word out to the business professionals that you all are starting a closet for professional attire. And I mean, we have nice clothes and a lot of them. And so even if a student is going to graduate from high school and doesn't have anything specifically they need at that moment, we try to send them out with an outfit that will make them prepared for future interviews. Plus, a lot of them don't have the clothes they need for graduation, and it also doubles as an opportunity to have the dress clothes to graduate in. So that seems like it's been really helpful. And Bright Future Site Council has done things like, you know, been able to buy, you know, if the student wants to participate in cosmetology but cannot afford to go through, you know, both semesters of it, businesses through Bright Futures will pay for that student. Or if they're trying to get their CNA certification, but they need scrubs to go to work, you know, all those things we can run through Bright Futures, and we put a post out, and, you know, the need is met almost immediately, always. And then Justice and I maybe can visit, but the chamber, you know, has a few specific ways that we support JAG, just because we're a business community, and Justice knows, just like I do, all we do is talk about workforce and how to strengthen it. So there's a lot of ways that as a chamber, you know, they can probably partner with you to be supportive of that, and to, you know, help find some business partners for JAG that will keep coming in and nurturing and encouraging and working with your students.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Dana, did you guys collect the clothes at the chamber, or did you just support and promote?
We both. It could be a drop off for the businesses, or they could take them to our central administrative office. The other good thing is since then, just because our overall motive is for kids to be able to have the experiences they need to grow into, you know, well-rounded adults, we gathered enough that we were able to also offer it to students like in FBLA that wouldn't have proper attire for things. And, you know, it just all the way around has been really helpful. Or if you have an athlete, you know, that can't afford the clothes to dress up on game days, or, you know, different things like that. But it started with our need to make sure that kids were able to go out and, even for senior pictures, if they wanted a nice outfit for senior pictures, those kids are your kids that just don't have any of that. So it's pretty empowering for them to be able to get those nice outfits. And
well, I may have to pick your brain on that later and get some information on what you guys kind of did for that and get with Joel. I think that'd be great. And then Cindy.
So this past summer was our first summer with the spot down on Court Street, and we hired a bunch of young high school kids. I think our youngest was 14. We had to go through the hoops to do that, but that's a great first job. And so I'd be interested in talking with you about that next summer for that.
Sounds great. Thank you.
We had them doing their own schedules, and I give them a task and let them figure it out. So it was good training for them, and it's an easy place to do that. So,
and also the Missouri Career Center in Fulton probably will pay their wages at first for you. So it would be really great for you too.
oh yeah, absolutely. And we are signed up with them. So that company operates under Errand Runners, and Errand Runners is signed up. But we enjoyed having the young kids down there, and it's pretty skill-less. Concession stand is an easy way to do it. So,
Right.
And then once they turn at least 18, we would consider interviewing some of these kids for Errand Runners.
Awesome. That is great news. Do we have any other questions or comments? I hope this has been beneficial for our businesses as well as Joel, to kind of put some things together. Joel, do you have anything you want to mention before?
I guess probably I should give my email and my phone number. That way, if anybody wants to get in contact with me, I can get that. And I'm going to give you a couple of different phone numbers. I'll give you my email first. My email is jhenley, Henley is the last name, at fulton58.org. And then the phone numbers that you can reach me at. I have a phone in my classroom, and that phone number is 573-590-8125. And then I'll also give you my cell phone number. I don't give that out to students, but I'll give it out to you guys so you can get me when I'm on the road somewhere.
Do you feel comfortable? I'm going to probably share this on our social media.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. There's a lot of people in the community of Fulton that already have my cell phone number, so it's not that big of a deal. My cell phone number is 903-277-5516.
903.
903. It's a Texas number.
Joel, give me the last four again.
It's 5516.
Okay. Got it.
Well, do we have any last minute comments, questions, anything like that?
I don't have any questions, just a comment. What a great program. Years ago, I was involved in a mentoring program at the high school, and this just appears to exceed that in so many levels. I'm super excited to watch this grow. And Joel, would you say the main focus is poverty? Is that, or are there different economic mixtures in your group?
There's different economic people that are here. There are some that definitely are on government assistance of some sort, but there are also those that aren't. Our barriers are all over the place, and economic is just one. It's really it can be as much as one of the barriers is parenting, but parenting doesn't mean that the child is yours. Parenting is you have to come home every day from school and you have to watch a sibling or a cousin or someone like that because your parents are working, and so you're watching a child from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. or whatever. So they're put in as that's listed as parenting because those kinds of things are barriers to academic and career success because you just don't have time. And so there's so much to it. And I will send the barrier sheet that we use to Justice, and she can forward that out. It's not something that we don't hide from it. So we'll definitely, I'll send her the sheet that has the barriers listed. So it gives you an idea of where we're at, because it's all over the place. Economics is just one portion of it.
Well, this program is definitely going to fill a void. That's awesome. I'm excited.
We actually have found that we want to do this program, and it's great, and yet we found that it's probably not enough for some of our students. We really feel like some of our students need more than this, and we've even run across some of them that are in it this year that we're 3 full weeks into school, and I'm looking at it going, this kid needs more than what JAG can provide. An hour, a class period every other day, since we're on block schedule this year, just isn't enough support for some of our students. Some of our students need need more of the alternative school setting, where it's every day with one teacher in one room. And we're just not able to provide that right now, but hopefully someday we'll be able to.
Justice, can any of these kids be in the training program that's getting ready to start at the chamber? Do they meet the age requirements?
Shane? No? Are you,
They have to be 18.
okay. That's what I thought. I wasn't for sure.
Yeah.
I knew it was 18, but I didn't know if any of these kids happen to meet that age requirement, if even the ones that they follow up with that next year.
Yeah, we probably have some 18-year-olds that would be seniors. I would have to go in and look at birth dates to know for sure where they're at.
They do have,
Oh,
I was going to say they do have to have their high school diploma too before they can apply for the MOAMP grant too. So
it'd have to be the kids that graduated last year that they're still tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not tracking anybody because we didn't have the program last year. So this year's seniors will be the first ones that we begin tracking.
Okay.
Maybe the people that go through it at the chamber, though, could be your mentors or your support for the leadership training and curriculum you're using through JAG, because they have a really strong leadership curriculum. But for us, we met a lot more success when we ended up with the business community in support and finding people that are willing to be, more intentional with specific students. So maybe that could be a project for your leadership group.
Yeah, I think Shane's suggestion of merging that with the Missouri Job Council is a great idea.
I do too, considering our leadership group isn't meeting this year. We're not having a graduation. Our 2020, that stinks. We're not having a 2021 group, but we will have a 2021. So next year we will be able to have a great leadership class. So and then that'll be the second year of JAG. Maybe we can implement that a little bit more as well with that leadership group.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if there's not, Cindy, do you have something?
No, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for coming on and giving us your support and asking questions and comments. I'll have this recorded, so if you guys want to send it to anybody, I'm going to upload it onto YouTube here shortly, and then we'll share it out. And it'll be to our membership too, so if you guys want to share it. So thanks so much, Joel, for being here.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk soon.
All right. Sounds good.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jesse.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.